fifth grade drawing for the Walmart card.
It's recorded.
You must be present to win. You may begin the last rotation.
So thank y'all for coming. What we wanted to do was just kind of go over a few things that could be expected of your child this 9 weeks. Just kind of give you a heads up of what's going on. So we gave you a paper. It's about the second 9 weeks and just lets you know kind of what to expect as far as our subjects. So we are the ELA Social Studies teachers for 3rd grade. I'm Miss Waters.
I'm Miss Brown.
And this is Miss Riggins.
Miss Hawkins. Miss McGee.
Miss Strange.
Miss McGuan.
Miss Price. So we want to welcome y'all to the curriculum night, and hopefully we can answer any questions that you have.
So the first thing we're going to go over today is fluency. Fluency is the rate and the expression that someone reads at. And so in 3rd grade, at least by January, your child should be able to read 90 words per minute. So one way that you can help our babies at home is when you get home, have them pick their favorite book, their favorite poem, a magazine, anything to read. And then what you do is you give your phone or anything a timer, and you put on 1 minute. And you monitor how many words they can read aloud to you for 1 minute. And then the next time, you are going to model to them how to do it. So if you look on your desk, there's an example of a fluency passage that we give to the student. This is an on-level text. And so what I would do is I would usually give the student this text, and they would read it for 1 minute, and I would time them, then I would stop them. And then I would get it, and I would model how to read with expression and how to read timely. A lot of times when we first started this, and it was time for them to time me, they just looked at the time because they wanted to see if I was going to beat the time, which I'm always going to beat the time if I read correctly, but which they didn't know if I was going to beat the time. And I wanted them to focus less on the time, but to monitor how I'm reading. Is Miss Brown stopping at the punctuation marks? Is she reading like a robot? Is she boring? Because a lot of times when the text is boring, we're not interested. And then once we finish reading, we don't know what that text is about. So if you look at here, I have an example, and I'm just going to model with you. I'm not going to read the whole thing. And so I will give them my phone, and they will put it on 1 minute. And I will start, do you have a good friend? These kids are all friends who go to the same school. They're not in the same class, so they have to wait until recess to see each other. These kids have been friends for a while, so they know how to get along well. They like to chat and tell stories about their day and their favorite toys. So while I'm reading, sometimes I have to, because my phone will be beside me and I have to focus. So, because they have the sheet too. And I want them to focus on how is she reading. So then after I model how I'm reading, we all get it and they're going to read it again. Because this time they should be able to read it quicker than they did the first time. So we do that, sometimes we try to do it around 4 times. So if you can at home, try it 4 times. And then see, and let them monitor their time. Let them go over it. Am I reading faster? Am I reading? Sometimes we don't want to read too fast because we may read too fast and we may not stop at those punctuation marks. And it's one complete thought. And in the end, we don't know what we just read. So go over that comprehension with them and check the words that they were messing up on. Are we not sounding out correctly? Do we not know this spelling pattern? If I look at this word, can I look at it and can I see a smaller word that I already know to help me understand what this word is? And so that's going to really help their comprehension because if they can read fluently, their comprehension is going to be better. They can understand what they just read. And then you can also ask them a few questions about that text that they just read. Who was it about? What was it about? Tell me, and don't just let them give you one word. Sometimes we like to say, show me where you got this answer at. So they're able to go back into the text because text evidence is really important because now they're able, if they have a question, they're able to go back and find evidence and find reason, why do I have this answer instead of just picking any answer. Also, we have code reads, and with code reads, we like to call this a fresh text. So this is a text that they've never seen before, and it's going to see, can I read this fluently, and can I also comprehend? When we have code reads, our main thing is comprehension. Is my baby reading on grade level? Because a lot of our code reads are on grade level. And it lets us know what they're struggling with. Because usually our spelling test is over books that we've been reading all week. So it's not a text that they're unfamiliar with. Well, can I give you a text that you're unfamiliar with, and can you still comprehend it? So that's really what a code read is.
Alright, so going along with the reading, we now are the entire school is adopted the Book It program. So you should have gotten a letter about it. If you haven't, you will. In third grade, you probably have already heard a little bit about it this evening, but in third grade, to get their free personal pan pizza, we're asking for the month of October to read 100 minutes. Now, there are only 2 weeks left in October, so we know that seems like a lot, but yesterday we had drop everything and read in the school where from 8 o'clock to 8:30, every person in the building, student, teachers, everybody stopped what we were doing and we read for 30 straight minutes. And the teachers signed the agenda. So they've already gotten 30 minutes, and then we're going to do this every Monday. So next Monday they're going to get another 30 minutes. So they're already going to have 60 minutes just from here at school in those 2 weeks. So we're really only asking them to read 40 minutes at home with you to sign their agenda. Now to sign their agenda, this is where we're asking you to sign it. So you have the pages where the students write their homework down, or you write notes to the teacher writes notes to you. So in the October, we're in October right now, if you go back to the very beginning of October, there's a calendar for the whole month of October. This is where we would like for you to sign it, so we don't have to flip page to page and look for it, how many minutes they read. So we're just asking you, so you should see your teacher has already signed their agenda. If they haven't, they will. But we're asking you to sign on this page. If they can't read at night, you have ball, you have church, whatever you have, it's okay. We do want them to read anywhere from 15 minutes or more a night, but we know things happen. So, if they don't read tonight, they don't read tomorrow, you have the whole month to get your goal. And again, starting next month, they're going to read actually 2 hours at school. So you're going to have, we skip a week, I'm sorry, not quite 2 hours. So next month in November, we're going to go up to 200 minutes. And then again, you would find the November calendar. It just continues through the agenda. And we're just asking you to make sure to sign on that calendar how many minutes your child has read. We do ask that be kind to us. If they read 12 minutes, go ahead and round that for us. Go ahead and make it an even 5 or by 5s or by 10, so that when we're counting up the 100 minutes, 200 minutes, we're not having to go, well, we got 3 minutes here, we got 8 minutes here. I mean, we could do it, but we're okay if you say, oh, he's read 13 minutes. If you go ahead and say that's 15 minutes. We're not going to, be too picky about that. And then every month after November, we go up by 50 minutes. So in the month of December, we're going to ask you to read 250 minutes. Now, keep in mind that they're at home with you the week of Thanksgiving. They're at home with you almost 3 weeks at Christmas. So when they're bored and they say they have nothing to do, they can read, and you can sign their agenda for them. And if they get their goal, they'll get a free a coupon to go get a free personal pan pizza at Pizza Hut. We will check the calendar at the beginning of the following month. So around November 1st or 2nd, we'll start checking calendars. Be patient with us. They might not get their coupon on November 1st, because we have so many students we have to check. But they should get it within the first week of the following month. Going along with that, the entire school now is going to have a reading incentive. So in the reading incentive, if they get their minutes for the Book It, we're also asking them to do a book report, one for each month. So they can choose their favorite book that they read in the month of October, November, December. So that's 3 book reports that we're asking them to do. We're going to give them the form. Every student will have the same form. And we're just asking that if they get their minutes and do their 3 book reports, when we come back in January after Christmas break, they will be rewarded with free lunch. They get to leave the school building, and we'll go to the Pie, which is American Pie, and we'll feed them lunch away from school. So that's a good incentive. Then we'll have January, February, March. The goal will be go to Weaver Park and spend time at Weaver Park. And then at the end of the year, the yearly goal, if they get their goal for all the year, they will have a beach party where we have water slides and things provided, and they'll get to spend time outside on the water slides. Now, if they don't get one of these goals, say that they just can't, you know, things happen and you don't make the goal each month, they can still get that yearly goal. They just gonna have to read a little extra to get caught up. I think the goal for the year is 1,600 minutes to get the beach party. So that's just something we're starting, because we really know the key to learning is becoming a better reader. And we also know you're not gonna become a better reader if you don't read. And the students that hate to read, we've got to get them interested in books that they like, and we're hoping that this is going to motivate some of our students that want to read.
And then the drop and read.
Oh, and I did say we read every Monday, you know, for the 30 minutes, so.
So that'll help with your time.
Right. And they can bring their own book, if they have a favorite magazine or something, they can bring their own stuff to read every Monday.
I'm sure you've seen on homework, super sentences. We practice those in class and on homework. Our hope is to use this process to help our students write more detailed sentences. We go over verbs and adjectives and all those things in class. And by writing super sentences, our students get to use those words that we are using in class, and they use this diagram right here. We give them the target word. So in this case, for this example, our target word is fossils. And then they use that. There's 5 up there. We ask them to use as many as they can, but we want them to use at least 3. So if I was going to write a super sentence using this diagram and my target word fossils, my who would be Fred, my what would be found, my where would be in the dirt, and my when would be yesterday. So my super sentence would be Fred found fossils, because that's my target word, in the dirt yesterday. So we're hoping that by asking them to list out these details and then put them all together in one sentence, that helps them to become better writers.
Okay, so our books that we read, we have an interactive block as well as a shared block. So that's 2 different blocks that we're reading. Interactive, they are reading is above level text, so the teacher is actually reading to the students. They do not have a copy in front of them. So right now, this week we're not reading a book, we're actually writing an informational piece on soil. So they're learning about how to write an informational piece. We will be reading Keith and Quilt, Grandfather's Journey, American Tall Tales, Long Popo, Maps and Globes, and What is a Biome. So we'll be working on ELA skills during this time, comprehension, things like that, oral comprehension. And then during our shared block, this is the books that we read here are the ones that you see they take their spelling test on. Those are the comprehension questions that you see. And usually it's where our vocabulary words come from. So we read soils last week, and you should see that test coming home this week. Minerals, rocks, and soils this week. Because of Winn-Dixie, this is the kids' favorite. They love Because of Winn-Dixie. And then What Happened, Paul Revere, and The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. That's my favorite. So when you see the comprehension questions on the end of the test, you'll see a page number. That's because they're allowed to use their book to find the answers. We've talked to them about the comprehension questions. Oftentimes some of the questions on the test are ones that we've discussed in class. So they've had some experience with it. They've had the opportunity to ask questions if they have questions about it. Any questions?
Alright, in social studies, we are studying economics, and so your students have probably come home and told you about the different types of resources, maybe showed you some of the resources that you're using, or if you go out, identify some of the producers and consumers in our community, because we want to see them how economics works in the world around us. They're going to be using some words like interdependence and trade and opportunity cost. I know when I started teaching this, I had to brush up on my vocabulary. So, don't be afraid to look and study with them on those to help them learn that vocabulary. Next, we're moving on to the U.S. rivers and mountain ranges to study geography again. All right?
Okay, I'm going to talk to you guys about everyone's favorite homework. So just like Ms. McGlone said, I won't touch on reading anymore because we've already covered that, but Every week your child will come home with a weekly homework sheet. Unlike over next door at the primary school, where homework was considered optional, we do want our students to actually do the homework. It's a direct review of what we're doing in class. It gives you the opportunity to know what we're doing in class to help them study. And we do go over it every day. When they come into the classroom, that's the first thing we do. We open up our binders and we pull out our homework and we go through it together. They don't have it done. They have a hard time participating. And, they're sitting there with a blank, blank on Monday or a blank on Tuesday. So it really makes them feel better too if they have that homework done. And of course, there's going to be the times that they may not have their homework done because that happens, and that's fine. They're not going to get an agenda code if they don't have their homework for like Monday night or Tuesday night. But by Friday, it does all need to be completed and turned in. So, but if they do forget their homework, and let's say they had a ball game Monday night, we're going over the homework, they could be filling in the answers. Now, we don't want them to do that every night, of course. We want them doing it at home, but things happen. So, social studies guides. Students come home with a study guide. The study guides have the vocabulary that we're studying. And so we would like for you guys to study those with them throughout the unit, but then especially we'll always let you know when the tests are, when the summative assessments are, so that they can be prepared for that test and that y'all are talking about those things with them. So, any questions about homework? Okay.
So for the grading assignments this 9 weeks, it is going to be a little bit different than what we are used to so far. The tests and all will be the same, and we'll be asking the same information from your child. But what we are going to do this time is we're going to back off a little bit on our reading. So up until this point, we were reading to the students when we took our test. From this point on, they will have to read the text on their own. This is just to allow them to use what they know. And these words will be very familiar with them. They're comfortable now in 3rd grade, so we should be good. The spelling tests that we have are the sheets that you study each week. The vocabulary and the spelling all come from the books that they read throughout the week. Your comprehension questions, as Ms. Reagan has said, do come from their books, and they're allowed to go back in and look up those answers. Our written responses, this is where we will ask them to write either an informational or an opinion piece, and we give your student a rubric, and we show them exactly what is expected of them, and then we allow them to write. So our goal is to have excellent 3rd grade writers by the time they end 3rd grade. So we like to see the growth from the beginning all the way to the end, so that they see the structure of writing, and they can see how they progress along the way as well. So if you have any questions about written responses, you can use the rubrics, but also, talk with your teachers if you need anything. The cold reads are the fresh reads that Ms. Brown was talking about. This is a 3rd grade level text. And what we do is we give them that fresh read and we ask them to read and comprehend. And then they discuss that information using written responses. So for social studies, we have our classwork assignments. This is where you have your organizers and your flip books and all of those tree maps and stuff that you've probably seen the kids creating. This is a fun way to be interactive with our lessons and make sure that they're understanding it throughout. We also have 3 formatives each unit. So these are kind of like checkpoints to let us know exactly where they're at and what they need to work on. So if we have a formative that a lot of students didn't do well on, that lets us know that we need to reteach. So these are mainly just checkpoints to let us know as we progress. Now our summatives are our end of the unit test, and that's what we work towards the whole unit. So our goal is, by the end of the summative, to really be able to master that standard. For economics, I know we'll let you know ahead of time, but you did get a study guide that you do probably want to start looking at with your child, just to kind of get them